Hey, happy Saturday. So I'm going to bring up a topic that a lot of people love to have an opinion about, and I'm here to say we need to stop having such a strong opinion and judging people, specifically moms, for it. And that is breastfeeding versus bottle feeding. Okay, now when we become moms, of course, we have an entire thing planned of what we want to do. And then we have our kids, and we do what we need to do with our kids, and we think, oh God, you know what? I've now learned this, I now learned that, and this works and this doesn't work. So now I think I know best. But the truth is, you don't. You don't. You know what works best for your child, which is why I would say to any parent that you know your child best. So if somebody tells you something else, really take a moment and say, is that my child or not? That being said, of course, if there's another caregiver in that child's life and they're trying to tell you something, children may also behave a little bit differently depending on who they're with. So if somebody's telling you like, hey, your child is biting and they're not biting in front of you, that does not mean that they're not biting. But overall, you know your child more than somebody else. But when it comes to breastfeeding versus bottle feeding, this isn't a circumstance of who knows who best. This isn't a circumstance of anything other than feeding your child. What are they eating on a day-to-day? Now, I've done posts about things that people say that are just shocking right after you give birth, which is like, what are you feeding them? How are you feeding? If you're doing this, you shouldn't have that. If you're doing that, like, they need to be involved in raising your child. And while it does take a village, it does not mean that every single subject matter is something that should be discussed with that parent. That parent, especially in today's day and age, is going to do what's best for their child. Now, if you are suspecting some sort of abuse or issues in the home, that's a whole different story. And this is not what we're talking about. What we're talking about here is a circumstance where a mom is bottle feeding her child and you have a bunch of other people going, you know, you really should breastfeed your child. And if you hear a little boy in the background, that's my son. And my daughter's currently taking a nap, and that would be the shh noise. So look, I've got two of them and they're still pretty little. And this is a subject that hits home because they're still pretty little. Now, I bottle feed my children. I bottle feed them because of the fact of a couple medical issues that occurred. Now, that being said, I prefer to bottle feed them. I didn't try to continue to breastfeed. Now, for all you breastfeeding women or you advocates for breastfeeding, I'm sure you're going to go, because you didn't have the knowledge to continue to breastfeed. I did. And not only did I have the knowledge, I did all of that research before I even had my son. In the beginning, all I wanted to do was breastfeed him. Once I had him and started bottle feeding him because of medical issues, I realized bottle feeding is amazing, and it gave my son all of the nutrients he needed, and he has no health issues today. He's now 2 years old. Now, that doesn't mean that he's 16 years old and nothing will come down the line, but unlikely. One thing that a lot of people forget is that formula has been around for 155 years. It doesn't mean that everything from the past is good. And shoot, before, if you go into the formula was, they included milk in that. Technically, there's lactose in it right now, but I mean, they used milk, like cow milk, in that formula before. So they didn't know what they were doing, and that's okay, because that was 155 years ago. Science has advanced. We now know, and I was a bottle-fed child. Again, my mother had some issues that she could not feed me breast milk. And this was a very, very long time ago. So, you know, it's not something that is a problem because it was a long time ago or that it's today, but it also isn't a problem for me as an adult. I don't have health issues because I was bottle fed. And that's the stigma that I'm trying to get rid of and help with. I'm not promoting bottle feeding either. For all you breastfeeding moms out there, you're amazing. You're doing amazing. And I think that you are phenomenal, because breastfeeding is not easy. There's a lot that goes with it. And if you're trying to keep going, good job. I mean, honestly, you're doing exactly what you think is best for your child. But so is that mom who's bottle feeding. And that's the point of this. Bottle feeding, breastfeeding, it's okay. It's all the same because your child is being fed. And if you are a parent who is doing one or the other and your child is suffering because you can have issues with formula, absolutely. And you can have issues with breast milk, Absolutely. And when those things occur, it is best for you to realize, I need to switch to the other. And there is no issues with that. Why? Because your child's being fed and they're happy, and that's all that matters. When they're 16 years old and you tell them you don't want them to eat so much candy, and you're making sure that they're having well-balanced cooked meals, that's the same thing as when you are a mom and you are going, look, I know that maybe this is best, but I know that they are going to have a well-balanced cooked meal formula because it has all the vitamins and nutrients that they need. That's still the same thing. It is. Because if you're going to say, oh, the immunities and all these other little things that you're going to get from from breastfeeding, that's true. You will, and that's great. But your child's not going to die on the formula. As a matter of fact, they're going to live. They're going to live, and they're going to live happily. And that breast milk, like I said, breastfeeding moms, you're amazing. And I did breastfeed for a few days after giving birth for both of my kids. My kids got colostrum, 100% of it. And I mean, I hand pumped that stuff out. And I mean, I made sure that my kids got anything there was a lot of pain involved with my son too. And I remember, not because of the breastfeeding, because of other issues that was going on with my body at the time. And maybe one of these days I'll actually do a birthing story with my son, so you guys have an idea of other things I can go on during birth. You know what? Actually, I will. Next week, that's what I'm going to tell you guys all about. Labor and delivery, because there's a lot of you first-time moms out there who are probably very curious. I know I was looking into all that. And if you are a first-time mom and you are watching this, hey, look, you can formula feed or you can breastfeed, and it is fine no matter what you do. And if someone tells you any different, just remember, when that baby comes out and you're holding that baby in your arms and you feel like breast milk is what's right and that's what you want to give your child, as long as they're getting enough of it and your doctor is on board with continuing it, because there's also circumstances that maybe you don't produce it enough and you have to do sometimes supplement a couple feedings with formula while you're also breastfeeding, and there's a lot of lactation nurses and midwives who can help you with that. And for all of you breastfeeding moms out there actually who are struggling, hey, there is help out there. You don't have to do this on your own. You're not on your own. There's a lot of people out there that are really wanting to help you and get you through what you're going through right now. And for you formula feeding moms, hi. You are amazing too. You are getting up and feeding your child at every single hour that they need to be fed. You are making sure that that bottle is good. You're not just popping out your boob and feeding them. I'm not saying that that's all it is, breastfeeding moms either. But at the same time, a mom who's doing formula, they have to make that formula every time. They're trying to make sure that there's no bacteria. They're constantly washing the bottles to make sure their child has a new one. I mean, it's not that simple either. A lot of people think it's just cut and dry, go, and there's a lot more involved to it. It's just that sometimes you can be a little bit more prepared ahead of time, but so is your boob. On the other hand, I know moms who are breastfeeding and they can't really travel because it's very difficult for them while they're breastfeeding, especially driving. So it's not just cut and dry, and that's, I guess, the whole point. So anyways, I hope this helps a lot of you breastfeeding moms and formula fed moms, and for formula feeding moms, you're feeding your children, of course, that it's okay to do either. Fed really is best, but I'm not saying that under the premise of supporting and only promoting formula. I'm supporting and promoting breastfeeding and formula. Now, if you have any questions about either or, I am not a nurse, I am not a doctor, but I have done a significant amount of research, and I can absolutely help guide you in hopefully the right direction in the best way that I possibly can. But my suggestion is always to talk to your pediatrician for your child first, because they are the best knowledge. Anyways, so this was my video for my Saturday vlog, gbrlife.com, and you're going to get more of this every single Saturday if this is the first time you're watching this. So if you want to see any of my other videos, please click subscribe. And if you don't want to subscribe, then just come back and check out GBR Life, my channel, or go to my website, gbrlife.com. And I also have a podcast, GBR Life of Crimes, but coming in December is GBR Life of Parenting, and I will continue to talk about these types of subjects in my podcast, along with many other types of subjects. Parenting is hard. You know, we need each other, and I just want to talk to you all about it. But like I always say, please comment, talk to me, let me know what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and I'd love to make a video about anything that you might be interested in. Good job, parents. You are amazing. Keep going. You've got this, especially in this pandemic. You've got this. Just keep your head up. We'll all get through.